Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Hembar. And today I have my weekly update for you. This is Liam's Leapings number 92 for the 13th of July, 2024. Um, it's been a few weeks. Sorry, my hair is wet. I just took a shower. I got back from work. My family went out of town today, and so the house is quiet. I'm actually filming this a day early. I'm filming this on Thursday rather than Friday, but I will finish no more books, and I don't think I'll start any more. So just might as well do this tonight. I've actually missed a couple weeks. I did the last one of these in like the 21st or 22nd of June. Since then, I went on vacation to Colorado, spent about a week there, see my in-laws, welcome my sister-in-law home, and I haven't released many videos. I've only released one more Wednesday video since then. It's Liminality in the Angevin Empire, which I'm a big fan of that video actually. So if you want to learn some history or literature or language stuff, maybe you already know it all. Anyways, I do talk about some Arthuriana, early English Arthuriana. Actually, the first work in English that mentions Arthur. But anyways. That's only if you're interested, of course. I have come out with some reviews since then, like The Palace of Love, Jack Vance Spear by Nicole Griffith, which I'm a big fan of, though the video didn't get a lot of views. And Shadows of Sanctuary, which is book 3 in Thieves' World, and then Midnight at the Well of Souls. When this comes out, actually, Cormier, a novel, that review will be out too. And I hadn't recorded any reviews actually in a while too, because I was gone, and then my voice was shot pretty much. I don't know if you remember that. I think it came up in my Angevin video, and so I couldn't record the videos for the day I normally record videos on. But I did finish 4 books. It's been almost a month, and I've only finished 4 books. My reading has been pretty terrible. It was early this week, about Monday or whatever. I'd only finished 6 books, 6 novels since the middle of May, and that's pretty terrible. I don't know if you realize recently I haven't been reading nearly as much, but I have finished some. So most of them are D&D novels, but I'll start with the one that's not. That's Destiny Times 3 by Fritz Leiber. And it's a short, early novel of his. I think it came out in 45. This is the first time it was published as a standalone novel in 57. This printing right here. Very, very cheap, by the way. Seems like falling apart. I think it was published with some other novels in the early 50s, though. Pretty interesting, actually. It's kind of about alternate Earths and like parallel universes and kind of mixing them, matching them. One's a utopia, one's a dystopia, one's like apocalyptic, pretty much ruined. So it's pretty interesting. None of them are our Earth, pretty much. They're all fictional Earths. So it's pretty interesting, though. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. I like Fritz Leiber. You can kind of see some early ideas that he would go to explore, maybe in something like Catch That Zeppelin or even The Big Time or whatever. So this is one of his earlier works. The other book I finished, or one of the other books I finished, is Pools of Darkness by James M. Ward and Anne K. Brown. Book 2 in the Pools series, or the Heroes of Flan trilogy. In the Forgotten Realms, I read the first one in April, which was my 100th Forgotten Realms novel. This one is very different. It has a very similar feel in some ways and very different feel. Characters are older now. It's been about 10 years. But I like it a lot still. It's pretty straightforward, but it's entertaining. And then I also read The Crimson Legion by Troy Denning. Also very different from the first book. Not as engrossing. The very beginning part of the first book in the series, so far after reading these 2 books, has been the best part. It's the beginning of that first book. This one's very different. It really focuses on Rikus, which is not the case of the first book. And Rikus is okay, I guess. So the other book I finished, I don't have a physical copy of. That's Descent into the Depths of the Earth, named after the old module, Dungeons & Dragons module. That's a Greyhawk novel by Paul Kidd. I had recently read White Plume Mountain. This one is okay. I mean, it's interesting. You get to fight some, like, Lolth, who's just a demon, and Greyhawk, not a goddess. And things like that. But the fairy character is a bit much, I think. She says the word poop a lot, and she talks about her cleavage and her butt way too much. So it's a bit odd. It's supposed to be funny. It doesn't really ever make me laugh, but I mean, I guess it's lighthearted, if nothing else. So Those are the 4 books I finished. I am very, very close to finishing The Tainted Sword by DJ Heinrich, which again is a pen name for some woman. I don't remember her name. I don't think she really wrote anything else. So um, very interesting, very, very interesting. In fact, I'm very close, very, very close to finishing this one, and I think it's kind of in a way I was not expecting. It's been a little slow, especially when something like on the back, right? It makes it sound like there's a party of 4, but in reality, the main characters are Flynn, guy on the cover, and Joanna. And there's another character named Dayan who's on the back, right? And there's a dwarf character who doesn't even show up until more than halfway through the book. And I guess he's cool, but he's not even there for most of the time. So it's not really a party. It's really about Flynn and Joe. Um, there's some kind of icky, interesting romance. I think part of the thing that part of the romance is that's weird about it is that they make Flynn come off like he's a really old guy, but if I'm remembering correctly, he's actually only in his 30s, which isn't that old. But Joe is pretty young; she's only like 19 or something like that. So it's a little odd, but at the same time, I don't know. We'll see how it ends. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to end nicely, which is weird. Maybe it's set up for the next 2 novels, but then that would be putting. Anyways, I can't spoil it, I guess. But I'm thinking about it. It's definitely going in places I would not have accepted. Another novel I'm really, really close to finishing in. I have like 1 chapter left, so maybe I would have finished this if I waited a day, but probably not. And that is Homecoming by Joel Shepard. I've been reading this one since early June when it released. Book 9 in the Spiral Wars series. It took me a really long time to get through it. It's been a while. I normally go through those books really quickly. But it's really good. It does just feel kind of like a chunk of a larger work, though, because it's kind of getting to the climax of the series. But I still think, as far as I'm aware, at one point I swear he had said there was 10 books. But now he says there's going to be like 4 more books after this one. So, but Homecoming kind of implies, if you've read the series, that we're getting near the end. Because for most of the series, they have not been in human space. Read the series. You should read it. It starts with Renegade. Very, very good book. The other book I'm reading, let's see, I'm reading Dagger by David Drake. I got this from my pal Jerry recently, actually. And I realized when I was looking up, it says it's a 5th Thieves World novel, and I know when the first 3 Thieves World novels are supposed to be read, and I'm not there yet in the Thieves World anthologies. But it turns out you can read this one after Tales from the Vulgar Unicorn. I've already read, that's the 2nd anthology, I've already read the 3rd anthology. This other novel, the 4th novel, Shadow Spawn, you can read after the 3rd anthology, so if I had that, I could read that too, and I don't have that, I don't think. So I'm reading this. David Drake, first novel I read by him. It's good so far. I'm not very far into it, but I really like it. I dig it. I dig his story in Tales from the Vulgar Unicorn. It's the only story I've read by him so far. But he's kind of a tertiary favorite, almost, I'd say, of the Sword and Sorcery community. Let's see. The other book I'm reading, I didn't even write it down here, so it's a good thing I remembered it. It is Shadow of the Smoking Mountain by Howard Andrew Jones. Book comes out in a few months, so it's the E-Arc. The 3rd book in the Chronicles of Hanawara, and I don't want to say I'm loving it right now, but it is super refreshing. It's great. I'm very glad to be reading it. I'll tell you more why. That review will come out soon. Normally you have to wait like 4 to 5 months or more for my reviews when I finish a book, but since that one's a book that's coming out, I push those ahead. It's been a while since I've done that, but I do push those ahead. Those normally come out on Tuesdays. So anyways, that'll probably, whenever I finish it, I'm about a 3rd of the way through it right now. So I think that's it. I did do a video with Philip Chase Tuesday. It's not out yet. It should be out in a few days, maybe, or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it was not Dear Dr. Fantasy. I'll tell you that much. But it was fun. Enjoyed it. I can no longer afford to pay for StreamYard or really much of anything. I canceled all my subscriptions. My financial situation is in like a really weird limbo of like, I just feel like I'm getting screwed over pretty much. I don't want to go into details here, but like finances has never been great for me. I've always been pretty down there. But again, I don't want to get into too much lower class. I've always been lower class. And I still am, but I'm feeling it very much right now, which is unfortunate. So that's been stressing me out a lot. Half the reason I haven't been reading as much lately is I've just been very anxious because of that. So somewhat depressed. I really don't like my job, and it doesn't even it's not giving me as much money as it should. and I don't even like it. So anyways, but that's just whatever, right? I hope you enjoyed watching this. I apologize I didn't talk about books there at the very end, but um, hope you don't miss the backgrounds too much, and you don't this little duck, StreamYard duck doesn't annoy you too much. I guess it's a vain thing to care about, but here we are.